Well, welcome and thanks for joining us today on episode number 129 of Lightbulb Moments. Thanks for joining us today and subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out past Lightbulb Moments episodes. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm host and curator of Lightbulb Moments. And what is a lightbulb moment? Well, it's a moment of sudden realization, enlightenment, or inspiration. And in the words of Bruce Springsteen, you can't start a fire without a spark. So a light bulb moment can be a spark to really create a figurative fire, which means a fire in your belly and a fire that is purpose-driven to helping you create a new reality for yourself. At Qunity, we're here to help you go from complicated, confusion, and overwhelming to a clearer path towards prosperity. And to prosper, remember to manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. It's not lost on us that you're spending your precious time with us today, so thank you. We love hearing from you. We love hearing comments. We love hearing ideas for guests, your light bulb moments. Submit a light bulb moment of your own on our website, or reach out to me personally, or a member of our team, or put something in the chat. We love light bulb. I'm getting addicted to light bulb moments. Last week, we had a great guest, John Busacker, and one of his light bulb moments that he shared with us is: if the leader won't deal with the problem is no longer the problem. The leader is the problem. John was just a wonderful guest. We got into a deeper dive into culture, and John has a lot of street credit in terms of bodies of work that he's presented across the world. And we hope you'll listen to that episode if you haven't yet. This week, I have a return guest, and I went back and I figured out when the last time I was with Roderick. It was January 12th of 2022. He was on with Lauren, and it was the two of them, but today it's just Roderick and myself. So super excited to bring Roderick to the mic. A couple things that are coming up on the calendar. We have coming up a special workshop on October 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a half-day workshop, and it's really for those current and future owners that are looking to not only grow the business, but possibly go or let go. So it's a great workshop if you are looking at ways to, if you're an owner, and you want to let go a little bit. You don't have to go to have this workshop become relevant to you, because in many cases, you're not ready to exit from your business, but you certainly want to start working on it. And in the meantime, you want to let go and maybe not work as hard, maybe take a little more time off. And so that workshop is coming up. It is, as I said, it's October 22nd, and it's going to be an amazing session. I've been doing interviews, case studies, research, etc., in preparation of this over the last couple of months. We've got great subject matter experts, and so it's going to be a very powerful time. We hope you'll join us. And one of the things I do want to clarify, that this is not necessarily for those that are on an immediate trajectory to exit from their business. And the reality is that because this workshop will also focus on how you increase the value of your business. So you might want to join us if you can. You go to our website to learn more. 2 to 10 is coming up in Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, the 2 days after the exit workshop. You have to be multi-location. You have to qualify. And there's all sorts of reasons to come to 2 to 10, but it's really for that multi-location salon owner or leader, including emerging leaders, to really be around your peers in a curated and specially selected network of businesses, as well as ideas and data and all of that. But we have a great speaker. He's the author of The Power of Us. So super excited about that coming up. Be sure to also check out Erin's Money O2 podcast. She just dropped an episode with John Paul DeJoria, and she has just amazing sessions. So check that out. You know, my light bulb moment this week, I'm going to keep it super short. I am in with our team, sort of our development team, a bunch of our coaches, and I just stepped out to be with you today. And we just had 2 great days going through our execution workshop. which is really about the gritty art of getting things done. It uses most of our tools that really are designed to help go from knowing and doing, and to be super intentional about building success into your business. And there was just one little comment that I wrote a Post-it note on, and actually wrote the Post-it on note, and I put it on my desktop computer, and it just sort of stuck with me. It's super simple, but I want to go through it. And it's a question that a leader sometimes need to ask themselves and members of their team. Is this even something we should be doing? So, one of the things that I always like to know is, what are people working on? Not because I'm looking over their shoulder, but it's very easy to be working on something that we don't need to work on. So I'm going to keep asking this questions of myself and other people, and maybe you too want to be thinking about this question as you look at your priorities as a leader. So we'll keep my Lightbulb moment super short, because today we have a very special guest. And I think at this point, let's bring Roderick to the mic and the camera. Roderick, how are you today?
What's going on, my man? How are you?
It was January 2nd or January 12th, 2022. Actually, my deceased mother's birthday, January 12th, very special day. And we had a great session with the two of you. And I just rewatched it this morning. And it's wonderful to, do a session with both you and Laura, your business and life partner.
For sure.
And but I wanted to get a little more Roderick. A lot of things we covered actually were more Lauren. And so here I get some special one-on-one time with you today and get to share it with all these other amazing people.
It's all good. Always special, Tom. Good morning, evening, or afternoon to whoever's watching from wherever you're watching. Super, super excited to be here and to dig into some things that passionately you and I both have showed a certain level of concern about, and see how we can dig into them. So it's all good.
You're a man that collects hardware. Let's be unapologetic and bragging about you a little bit. You won the NAHA Educator of the Year Award.
Yes,
2020.
sir.
So
2023.
That is a really big deal. So you are Educator of the Year. And when we sort of, look at other people that would be in that same field, you're in a pretty elite group. So the elite. So big shout out to you, man. I mean, that's a really big honor.
Well, thank you so much. Education for the last almost 30 years of being in this industry has been my life. And, I've had really amazing mentors. Number one, in my mother, who God rest her soul as well, she was a teacher in the public school system for 33 plus years. So, my dad is a pastor, and I think my empathy and speaking abilities and just overall concern for our communities is something that they both instilled in me at a very, very young age. So something I'm very, very proud of. It took me 27 years to become an overnight success. And, those are just some things that I'm very, very proud of. It's important for us to be that pillar in our community, especially for someone like me. I'm actually a barber. I'm not a cosmetologist or a stylist. So, bringing something like that to the barber industry helps to bring more awareness to our space. But also, my hope is to encourage more barbers to go out there and become educators and become leaders in our industry. There's something that's definitely needed.
Yeah, I mean, you frequently speak about your roots and your upbringing and your mom and your dad, and you obviously you've got some great stories. You've also got some great humor that you throw into things that always I enjoy, and you talk about your parents a lot and that the influence they've had on you in your life. So.
Yeah, it's just really important. There's so many instances, that I guess as someone who grew up with both parents in the house, it's taken a certain level of empathy and understanding to really, really kind of pinpoint things that I could help people out with when it comes down to how they were reared as children. And, especially in the school industry right now, people's parents did everything they could to bring them to this point. So it's my job, and I feel completely indebted to their parents, to their parent, to whomever raised them to help them get to the next finish line. And that's becoming a licensed professional in the barber industry.
Talk a little bit, we're going to get into a couple of our topics here. Talk a little bit about your business. And so it's in Detroit, it's a school. You're a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I am the director of education here at Hair Lab Detroit Barber School. We're a little bit outside of Detroit. We're in Southgate, Michigan. We've been open now for about 4 years, and it's been a ride, man, to be honest with you. I've been in the school business since 2006. I started my first school back in 2006 in Somerville, South Carolina, where I'm from, and just kind of continue to grow from there. Really seeing the need for structured education in the personal appearance industry, especially in barbering, and wanted to bring something new and something different, something exciting to the world of education, especially from, a small town like Somerville, South Carolina. We get a bad rep being, ranked so low educationally in the country. And, you and I've kind of talked about this too, Tom. Not everybody's going to four-year university. So, being able to give someone an outlet or an opportunity to make something of their lives when, university just isn't for them, just really, really near and dear to my heart. And I was happy that I could, give people a safe space to come and practice and become the best person they could actually be.
Yeah, for those listeners here, January 12th, 2022, that episode, Lauren and Roderick unpacked their few different things, the opening of their business, the bittersweet timing of the opening of their business, how the two of you are dyads, a little bit about your family, the lanes you're students. That's another episode.
Sure.
So you called me, and you called me, maybe it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And of course, whenever you call, I pick up the phone and, grab it. And I'm just
that, by the way.
always delighted to talk to you. And but you sounded a little bit like a man on a mission. And there was a story that really stuck with me about someone in your world, a young woman that needed a check cashed. And that really was probably one of many wake-up calls that you had about financial literacy. So let's first of all just kind of unpack that story about this young woman.
Sure. Anybody who is in beauty or barber school right now, once they reach a certain threshold in their hours, they get either a cost of living check or a refund check. In this particular situation, and it's not just this one young lady in particular, it's been several students where they don't have bank accounts. And, so I'm getting these phone calls and, hey, I went to the bank and they won't cash the check. And I'm like, well, why? I didn't have a bank account. Then they proceed to go to other different places, whether it be a liquor store or a check cashing place. And we know those places are very, very predatory, especially with people with large sums of money. We're talking anywhere between 20, 30, 40% sometimes of what that actual check is actually for. So for me, it was a very big wake-up call. It was super humbling, to be honest with you, Tom, because I didn't realize how many of the students that I actually serve on a daily basis were not set up financially with the literacy portion just to conduct day-to-day stuff. And I'm not even talking, business. I'm talking about just living on a day-to-day. So that to me sparked a call to you because, of course, number one, you're my friend, but you're also someone who I trust with, mentoring me through what I personally need to do in my role as a leader to to help these situations out. So that's what prompted the call. And being from the African American community, I think there's a lot of there's a lack of financial literacy when it comes down to how we should spend and where our dollars go, but also as a business person, making sure that my students understand, your personal finances versus your business finances and how those things at some points can overlap, but they should be completely separate. So we're members of our local Chamber of Commerce. I reached out to the director there, and he put me in contact with a young lady. And she came in, did a very, very in-depth presentation on taxes, setting up an LLC. We have students that have LLCs, actual corporations set up in the state of Michigan, and don't have a bank account. That's a real big problem.
Hold on. I want to let that one sink in again.
Yeah,
Let it
run.
So so we have individuals, they've got an LLC, but they don't have a bank account.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm sure that I'm not probably the only person that's experienced this thing. You know what I mean? It's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's, hey, 3 different things. Get your LLC. Then you apply for this credit card. Then you can get up to $30,000 to $50,000, $100,000 in financing. Well, you and I both know that that's not true. The government isn't just giving money away. Nobody's giving money away. And that's just I've been speaking on this a little bit more often, these false prophets that we actually have, on social media, that's really pumping people up for failure. It's awful, and it's really, really put a lot of people in bad situations, because what my students don't understand is that at some point they're going to get a letter from the state of Michigan or wherever they live, right? And it's going to say, hey, it's time to pay your employee taxes. We don't even have a bank account at this point. So how are we even going to set ourselves up to make that payment, number one? But secondly, the information and knowledge that has been lost in this time frame is just mind-blowing. And my job as a leader in the barber and beauty space is to create more leaders. And I cannot sleep well at night. And I'm going to be completely vulnerable with your listeners right now. It bothers me to a level to where I can't sleep at night. I'm constantly concerned and worried about, number one, where our community in the Metro Detroit area is going to go, but also from an industry standpoint, how that's going to affect the longevity for licensed professionals in our space.
Well, the good news is you're a change maker.
Thank you.
And first of all, it's to identify what needs to change, and then do something about it. And it's obviously created a lot of angst in you. And I think someone that's really passionate about this industry, it's always created a lot of angst for me too. And how it affects a career path. So let's unpack that. So you have a student that is really led by a very social media driven culture that will glamorize things like having an LLC or being a solo boss person, and it really is setting them up for failure in the industry.
I did speak with this young lady, and I pulled her to the side, and I explained to her that she inspired me because, of course, in leadership and education, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. I didn't need to look at it at a standpoint where she was the sole problem, that it was entirely her fault. I think there's other people that should also take some responsibility in the fact that what she needs to know versus what she assumes about forming a business or forming a company or whatever the case may be that weren't true. She actually really inspired me. And that day I called you, I just spoken with this young lady, and her parents did the best that they could do. You know, I explained to her that I couldn't fault her for navigating through this challenge the way that she did. Maybe she's only seen her mom or dad go to the liquor store to cash checks. Maybe she's only seen her grandma or grandpa go to the check cashing place to cash checks. So, you know, there's never a problem without a solution. My wife says that all the time. And when it's weird, it's wrong. So when she said, you know, it was just really weird, I said, baby, that means that it's wrong, that we have some work to do. And I explained to her that I wasn't coming down on her. And if she felt that way, I completely 1000% apologize. And I'll take full responsibility and accountability if I made her feel some type of way. But it's just a different and possibly a better way to handle business like this. You know, I have this thing about treating certain situations with kid gloves, right? Most of our students are anywhere between 19 to 25, 27 years old. They're just getting their lives started and together. But to know that there are people out there that are operating at such a very low level when there's so much money to be made in the industry, if they're not doing what they need to do right now foundationally to prepare themselves for those months that are lean, come on, you're a small business owner too, right? We have those months where we're like, okay, do we put gas in the car or do we put food on our table? You know what I mean? I mean, at one point in my career, I was so low, I had to reach up to touch bottom. So to see my students, you can laugh, that's funny. But to see my students, you know, I always pit myself against myself, and I explain to them that I went through so they don't have to. So if I went through these things, I refuse to allow them to go through all of the stupid mistakes and choices that I've made in my career, in my life, so that they can have a more successful and easier transition into the beauty and barber space.
Well, and yeah, I mean, all of us have made mistakes, and I think a lot of the curriculums that we create, some of them are just based upon personal stupid stuff I did, you know.
Sure.
And you know, I think that
Tom, you know what? I got one for you. You and I like to have these moments. You can write this one down. I made a lot of good choices at very bad times.
Well, you know what? I think that your phone call and your encounter with this young woman, there's always a silver lining. I'm just an unapologetic optimist. And the reality is that little occurrence may have sparked a little bit of a chain reaction. And I'm not really going to announce all the details, but you and I are in discussions about doing something different around this, to really leverage your passion a little bit, and along with the work that we've done to teach the foundations. And so I think we got some exciting conversations in the future that will bring our community in. That so good things are going to happen, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. You know, we've kind of shifted the way that we actually, you know, conducting our day-to-day here at Hair Lab Detroit Barber School. We went to a block schedule, which our students, they rotate classes and instructors every 2 hours. So the instructors don't get burnt out, the students don't get burnt out, and they can learn a little bit more from everybody that's on our team. We have a very, very passionate and dedicated team of instructors here as well. The other thing that we did this year was we added an additional class to our daily rotation, and that's called our professional development class. We kind of took a page out of Motown. Anybody who knows the story of Motown and Berry Gordy, they had one of the houses on the block where they would bring their artists in and teach them about speaking and interviewing to the public, what they should wear, how they should dress when they come into a situation or they perform in a show, what that looks like. So we kind of took a page from that book, and we've devoted 2 hours of our day every day at Hair Lab Detroit Barber School to professional development. And that means anything from marketing to social media marketing, business development, buyers, how people spend their money based on the generation. I mean, a number of different things, shout out to Pivot Point International, but a number of different things that are going to help to enrich the lives of our students. A lot of times the students don't think about what's coming down the line or what's moving forward. So if we coach them and condition their minds early on in their education, there's no telling what could come of, you know, those professional development classes, but also the development and how it fuels our culture. We have three things that we explain to our students in our culture every single time we have a class start. And it's also reminding to them, because we do morning huddles as well. Show up, work hard, and listen. So our students have that in their mind. It's literally tattooed in their brain that every day when they walk through these doors, they have to show up, they have to work hard, and they have to listen. You got 2 ears, 1 mouth. So you have to listen more than you speak. That's how education happens. It's educing, it's bringing those things from within. But if you have a short attention span and you're not able to really focus on those things, you know, it's going to be challenging for you. So that's why we went to 2-hour blocks. You know, we have a break built into those 2-hour blocks too. So definitely being a little bit more innovative and a little bit more forward thinking in the way that post-secondary education, especially in the barber and beauty space, is being done, because we're dealing with COVID kids. Right? These people, they're not used to having personal interactions and dealing with, you know, face-to-face conversations with people every day, right? So their attention spans and also the way that they interact with people is a little bit different. When you're working in the beauty space, in the barber space, it's not a tweet or a text. It's not a snap. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to, not every chair is going to be a quiet chair, which is something that's real popular in our industry right now too. So, you know, we're teaching them a little bit more about the art of conversation and how relationships actually fuel your success. We're not in the hair business, we're in the people business. And when you're in the people business, there's a certain perception that people have of great barbers and stylists and how we dress and how we speak and our manners. You know, I'm from the South, so manners is a big thing for me. Yes, ma'am, no, sir, holding doors open. You know, my mom used to listen to this song, I think it was by the OJs, and it was called Treat Her Like a Lady.
Oh yeah.
And that song resonated with me throughout my entire life. My wife jokingly says that she got very, very weak over the time that we were dating and married because she's never had to open a door. She never has to carry in her groceries. You know, when groceries come to the house, I'm yelling upstairs to my son, "Hey boy, bring your ass down here and get these groceries for your mama. Stop playing around." But those are the small things. We referenced my upbringing, my parents. Those are the very, and I say small things, but they're actually big things because not everybody grew up in households and cultures like that. But those are the things that actually help to fuel who I am today. My mannerisms, the way I carry myself. I mean, my dad is 74 years old. He doesn't own a pair of jeans. He always wears slacks, always wears, you know, button-up shirts and things like that. So those are just some of the things that I want to instill in the younger generation, because it's been just so beneficial to me in my career and some of my successes as well.
Yeah, well, you're giving back. You're giving back on a daily basis, and I love this commitment to professional development, and you know, you're really making a big difference, one student at a time. I'm going to switch topics. All right,
Sure.
and the topic has to do with instructors, finding and keeping great instructors.
Yes.
And you brought that up to me when we were, you know, just getting caught up. And I said, I'd love to explore that topic. And one of the reasons why is partially for selfish reasons, because we just did a study about, you know, compensation and other factors related to instructors in schools. And this Saturday, I actually have a presentation in front of a bunch of school owners. And one of the topics is finding and keeping instructors. So you have some points of view on that.
I do. You know, finding, you know, sometimes we have complaints from students about, you know, finding better instructors and finding better talent or whatever the case may be. And unbeknownst to some of our students, you know, there's not a lot of people that understand the importance and the commitment that it takes to become an amazing educator. We have people that can 1000% make more money working behind the chair. So it takes identifying a very special and unique person that have those people skills, that understand that this is a job that's not going to pay a lot of money, but the intrinsic value that comes in sharing your information and being a champion for all students. Those are the things how you really get paid. My grandfather used to always say, you can't get paid for everything that you do. And that's so true, because sometimes, there's been several accounts where I've just done because I know I can do. I've just done because I know it's the right thing to do. And, everybody, so many people today are only concerned with the fiscal aspect of giving or what is being done. They're always looking for something in return. But what if that return comes in favor? What if that return comes in grace? What if that return comes in, a child that, didn't have any other place to go, but they found a home here at Barber School. Students that are loved at home come to school to learn. Students that aren't loved at homes come to school to be loved. And that's one of the things that I think—
Would you say that again? Say that again?
Yes, sir. Students who are loved at home come to school to learn. Students who aren't loved at home come to school to be loved. So we do a very good job, and every frog praises his own pond, right? But I think that my team here at Hair Lab, we do a very good job of giving it from both sides. It's the genuine intrinsic love that we have for people because we're in the people business, but also it's those conversations about tough love. And so many students have been jaded by people pumping them up for failure, and they have trust issues and integrity issues. So we've had to kind of create our own model of coaching when it comes down to the performance of our students. So our academy director, her name is Des De Jesus, along with my wife, Lauren, they've kind of come up with a concept to where if a student is having a challenge mentally, and by the way, for all of my instructors and school people that are listening out there, it is not our job to become counselors. We're not qualified for those things. We're not psychiatrists or psychologists. So don't feel like you have to put that burden on your shoulders. But what we have kind of come up with is an opportunity for the students to scan a QR code in front of our administrative offices. They're able to send a message directly to our academy director saying, "Hey, I'm having a tough time today in school. Can I meet with you, or can I go into my office?" So offering that time just to have a student to decompress, to speak about some of the challenges that they may be having during school, even things that are out of school right now. I think that makes a really, really big difference as well. Now, here's the caveat. We only give them 10 minutes. Hey, you got 10 minutes, spill it, give it out, whatever you need. And then you got to go back to class, because our industry doesn't work like that. Your client is not going to care what kind of day you have, and they want to get their highlights, they want to get their taper, they want to get their fade. So, again, coaching them through some of life's challenges, it's the level of problem solving. The level of problem solving, or the lack thereof, is something that's really, really detrimental to our student success. So we had to put some different things in place to make sure that, control the head, control the body, right? So if we can help them to navigate through some of their challenges in the head, then their bodies will be more in tune to continue to keep on keeping on and pushing through, fail and fail again, get back up, fail and fail again, because maybe, just maybe, something's going to shake out of that.
Yeah. Back to instructors for a little bit here. And, you're right. They're not going to make the most money. And what I think that you just framed is super interesting here. Of course, the intrinsic value is a really great thing to highlight here. And your suggestion kind of goes back to the beginning of this podcast, actually, when I talked about 3 currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money.
Yeah.
So their return may not be high from a monetary standpoint, but the return can be quite high when it comes from an impact standpoint. I think that's a profound way to look at the instructor role.
Yes. We've actually gotten really creative in how we actually recruit instructors too. So we
I'm
have
all ears on this one, by the way.
Yeah. So what
Yep.
we've done is, most instructor programs throughout the country, they range from anywhere between $10,000, $15,000 for the program. What we've created is a earn while you learn program. So essentially, we are paying our instructors, our student instructors to apprentice, and they kind of learn, they're kind of doing like an on-the-job training. So what we do is, when we recruit instructors, there's a couple of different things that we actually look for. Our values have to align morally, number one. The high level performance piece that every instructor actually needs, we coach them through that. We want to make sure that based on our school's culture, which is to show up, work hard, and listen, these people are able to exude those things, whether it be on the clinic floor and in the classroom. This program that we've kind of come up with together it's not anything that is, certified, but it's just us being really creative, because getting good people to come in to instruct is very, very hard. But if we are able to offer them a small wage, to train, to learn. Number one, we've got some skin in the game, right? 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. You want to create win-win situations for everybody that's involved. So essentially, they're getting paid to get an education, but also that intrinsic value that we need for them to have. They're sharing their successes and their failures with our students every day, whether it be from a theoretical standpoint or on the practical clinic floor. Our instructors still work in barbershops full-time. They each give
Oh,
they each give about 2 to 3 days a week. We do have 2 full-time instructors that we have on staff all the time, because that's what the state of Michigan requires. But our other instructors, they're still actively working behind the chair, but also they come in and they kind of do an in-kind service. They're donating their time to get an actual instructor's license, but they also get a small stipend to do that too. So we've kind of built that into our budget, and it's been working out very, very nicely. So I think that a lot of schools need to rethink how we are structuring instruction and getting people to come into our industry to teach the next generation of future barbers and stylists. And it doesn't come all the time with them giving us something. I think that if we kind of turn the tides a little bit and are able to create apprenticeships or programs to where they too get a little something out of it, again, it's a win-win situation for everybody. So luckily,
let me
go ahead.
let me unpack this a little bit. I got to go back a little bit. So what you do is, it sounds like you've got a lot of part-time instructors that work as a barber somewhere.
Mhm.
And so they're part-time 2 to 3 days a week, but they have a full-time or almost full-time job,
Mhm.
behind a chair.
Mhm.
Then you have a couple full-time. Backing up a little bit here, you said that, for other instructors that you gave them a wage. I want to understand that one a little bit further, the beginning, when you were talking about instructors.
So if you think about the Earn While You Learn programs that are all across the country,
Yeah.
they are able to get their education as well, because we do have class time. They have a syllabus that they have to follow. We have class times every day for about an hour after the school closes down. So they're still getting an educational component as well. We have huddles and team meets to discuss certain challenges that they've been having throughout the day, which 9 times out of 10 is kind of funny. It's part of what their lessons are in their curriculum for that week. So we're able to still, give them, an hourly wage while they're training to train other students.
So it's a program for students to actually.
It's a program for licensed barbers
Mhm.
that want to come into the education industry.
Gotcha.
And instead of them paying to be enrolled in a instructor program, we're actually paying them, to be teachers at our school.
Gotcha.
while they're
Okay.
actually
All right.
earning their hours towards their instructor's licensure.
I understand now. Okay. Yeah. Anything else on that? Some of the other things that you've done are innovative to really make sure you have the right number and the right quality of instructors.
Um, you know, um, like I said before, there's a big thing with my wife and I about how people operate. There has to be a certain level of integrity. We want to make sure that these people understand that there's certain things and words that we can't use. We can't use traditional barbershop language within the school. We have to make sure that we address pronouns. We have to make sure that we don't discuss religion. We need to make sure that we don't talk about anybody behind their backs, and that we have each other's back as educators, and also admin staff too. So, we've created quite the family here at Hair Lab, and, there's never a problem without a solution. I believe that our team of instructors come in here every day feeling and believing that they can change the world. And when you have people that have that type of positive mental attitude, there's nothing that can't be taught. It's kind of the same situation. You hire for skill, not for talent, right? So, I'm sorry, you hire for talent and not for skill. If someone's talented, I can teach them the skill. If they're passionate about teaching and education and giving back, I can teach them how to run a classroom and to manage a clinic floor. But it's that value and those intrinsic values, their empathy towards people in our community, and how they conduct themselves and carry themselves on a daily basis. That's what we always look for when we're hiring instructors for our schools.
Roderick, we could talk all day, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm being sensitive to time here, and such great wisdom and such great ideas and passion that is wonderful to see how you channel that for good of so many people. So, we got into some really important topics today. Financial literacy, keeping instructors, which is a challenge for many schools, and on a lighter note, what brings you joy these days? At home, you've got a couple kids, and
man, what's bringing me joy at home these days? My son has finished with his program. He works the switchboard at one of the major radio stations here in the metropolitan Detroit area. So that's really cool. My daughter is a senior in high school this year, and there's been talks of her possibly going into cosmetology school. So I'm super low key because I don't want to push her, to do something that she doesn't want to do. But, this weekend we were in Kansas City, Missouri. This weekend we were able to kind of have some talks with her about what her future looks like and what she may want to do. And, she has some really good decisions to make as far as where she wants to go to school. She's a hair baby, and she grew up in the salon. She's worked for us in the salon. She's worked for us at the school. She's traveled to every major hair show that my wife and I have attended. She knows some of the big time people, and they know who she is. So that's a really, I'm a girl dad, you know what I mean? So this is nothing I would tell her in her face because it'll push her away from it. But I'm super, super excited about the possibility that she wants to kind of follow in, her mom and I's footsteps, and, become a licensed, cosmetologist or barber in our industry. I'm really enjoying Deion Sanders right now. The thing he's doing in Colorado, bringing a little swag into the state. And you know what, honestly, man, I'm just really enjoying getting older. I have a birthday coming up next week. I'll be 46 years young. And, I appreciate the wisdom and those experiences that I've had along the way. Experience is the best teacher you can ever had. And, experience can teach you things that, the best textbook, the best mentors and business coaches can't teach you. You're kind of learning on the fly. So I appreciate the lean times. I appreciate the success. And I just appreciate good friends like you, man, and that pick up the phone and understand that sometimes I'm not calling for shits and giggles, which we do that too. But
Yeah.
when there's something that's real pressing on me, it's just good to have mentors. And I think lastly, I just wanted to kind of say to your listeners, find mentors. Even where I am in my industry and all the awards and stuff like that, I still have mentors, and I found mentors at every level that I've operated on. So when I worked behind the chair full time, I had a mentor. When I got into the education, I had a mentor, Mr. Ivan Zoot. When I got into the school business, I had mentors, Larry Curtis, Eric Fisher. Those guys run great schools and have been very instrumental in success of my school, but they've given me some gems that they never charged for. And I think that's the biggest thing in mentorship. A lot of times people think that, a mentor is not somebody that say, hey, give me $30,000 and I'll mentor you through these things. That's a consultant. And you better get a return on your investment with that $30,000. But a mentor is somebody that's been in the industry for a while, and somebody who sees the passion that you have and a desire to be more than what you are. And while I can give you your flowers, while you can smell them, Tom, I really appreciate you being a good mentor to me and being a good friend to me over the past couple of years. It's not always been easy, but it's always been fun. And I just want to thank you for your time, because you didn't have to do it, but you did. I want to thank you, your daughter. She didn't have to do it, but she did. Your whole team, they didn't have to do it, but they did. So your best ability is availability, my man. And I thank you for being available. I greatly appreciate that.
Right back at you, Roger. You're a good friend and a mentor to me too. And let's everybody give a virtual round of applause to this guy. And you'll be getting another $1 million light bulb. It'll be coming to you in the mail. And so now you can put that next to your hardware. You're gonna have to take a picture of all your hardware. By the way, man, you guys took home some hardware last weekend. You sent me some text.
Yeah.
I think between you and Lauren, would you have 4 or 5 of them pieces of
we got 4. We got 4 out of the 5 categories that we entered. So my wife actually won 3. I love my wife, and I'm not gassing her up by any means.
Super talented. Yeah.
Oh my God, she's so talented, and she does it with such grace and poise. She's super humble. And she won. Funny story. So she won Master Hairstylist of the Year. She won Hairstylist of the Year, and she won Textured Hairstylist of the Year. So the first 2 awards came out. I was like, oh my God, babe, you won. She was like, oh yeah. So she went up and gave her speech, and that was dope. The second time they called her name, she was like, again. And I was like, hey girl, shit, you got the hot number right now. Do your thing, girl, do it. And so the third time comes around, she's like, babe, did you pay someone? I'm like, our money comes through the same funnel. You really think you would allow me to pay these people? I was like, you know what? Your work and your talent is just, it's impeccable, and sometimes I think it's important, even as we are business partners and we're husband and wife, you still gotta be your wife's champion. You still got to be your significant other's best friend. And, there's some conversations she's had with me that I don't want to share with everybody because it hurt my feelings. But I appreciate that, because how many people do you really know that's going to tell you the truth? I appreciate her honesty, but I push her. I make the biggest effort every day to motivate her to continue to keep on keeping on. And her hard work and dedication to our industry has shown. She's won 2 NAHAs. Now she has 3 Midwest Hairstyling Awards. And the cool thing was, this is the first time that she and I have been nominated and won at a major competition. So love and labor, my man.
Well, congratulations. I'm very happy for both of you, and send my best to Lauren, and make sure you put those $1 million light bulbs right up on the shelf with the rest of those awards.
If I can make room, she got the whole thing just sewed up, man. Just I'm gonna just put mine in the car. Just ride around like with it like it's a bobblehead, like, hey, look at me. Look at me. I won too.
Oh, all right, Roderick.
Oh man.
Listen, I'm sure I'll be talking to you probably next week. And
Yes,
for the
please.
rest of us, you guys, again, a virtual round of applause to this gentleman. You are a gentleman and such a great contributor. And I'm super grateful and glad you joined us today. So I'll be talking to you very soon. And I guess that's I'll wrap up the episode now. So, so
Yeah,
for the
thank
rest
you
of
guys for
you,
having me. I greatly appreciate it.
awesome. All right, so we are on next week, same time, same place. And do I have any announcements? I don't believe. Well, I do want to acknowledge Lightheart Sanders, a sponsor for the Lightbulb Moments. We also have other sponsors such as Ally Health, which is a mental health solution that's affordable. So, and to the team that really helps. Put this whole thing together. Sonia, welcome back, by the way. Sonia from our team just came back. I haven't even talked to her yet. We have JP and the rest of the crew is in another room here. We're working on developing what's new and next for us. So super grateful for all of you for joining us today. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.